Yo, what up, YouTube? It's Richawd back with another video. Voice a little raspy today. I got a sore throat, but wanted to get a quick video out. As y'all can see, it's snowing like crazy. We're in the middle of a snowstorm here in the Midwest, out here in Gary. We finna be getting a lot of snow, and this shit is ridiculous. I don't even know how the hell I'm supposed to drive in this shit. Certain places out here in Indiana, bro, they barely be paving the roads, bro. Like, it's different if you live in the city. If you live in the city, they keep the roads paved for the most part. And in Indiana, they pave the roads too, but only the main roads. You know what I'm saying? They only pave the main roads. So, like, if you ducked off in the trenches somewhere, they don't come pave your road, bro. I guess your neighborhood don't bring in enough tax money, so they don't come rock with you. But anyway, I just wanted to I just wanted to get a quick video out, you know, because it's supposed to be snowing the whole week. Y'all know I make most of my videos in my car, but all this snow and shit, bro, these videos gonna be on the limit this week, bro. But what I want to talk about today is why the elites are so infatuated with AI. Y'all can see that they're ramping up AI everywhere you look. You go on social media, AI is everywhere. It's hard to tell real from fake. They're preparing these robots for AI. They already have cars that can drive themselves, right? Soon they will have planes that can fly themselves. It all sounds scary now, but there was once a time it sounds scary to drive an automobile, you know. It sounds scary to hop on a plane. For some people, it still sounds scary to hop on a plane. When they came out with the cold train, when they came out with trains, a lot of people didn't like trains. A lot of people were fearful of trains. These are certain crossroads, certain changing of the guards that we go through in the history of time. And what's going on right now is we're approaching the changing of the guards. But the thing is, a lot of people, they don't realize that the guard is about to change. They don't realize that these elite people don't care about the poor. That's why the middle class has been eliminated, because these elite people don't care about the poor, bro. All they care about is the elites. They see the poor people as dead weight, right? We in the way, basically. That's why they're trying, and that's why they're working on designing smart cities that will be AI based to control people. It's going to be like how things are in China and some other places, where they can tell you how much you can eat. They can tell you how much TV you can watch. It's going to be a limit. It's going to be a cap on everything. This may sound crazy, but, you know, once people give up their rights and get that digital ID, now these people will have full control over you, right? Now, in order for you to owe nothing and still be happy, you got to go by their rules. You got to understand this new one world order, bro, is just going to be a dictatorship. That's all it's going to be, bro. It's a dictatorship, bro. You know? And I wonder what... anyway, let me stay on point. I'm just mad my voice so raspy right now. But I think I know why. I'll be fine. But with the one world order, it's going to be a dictatorship. That's what they're trending for. They want everybody to be a part of this new digital ID society. Most people will go in the grocery store, do like that right there, put their wrists like that right there. You know how they have tap, right? Tap was just preparing them for what they gonna do later. Instead of you just tapping your phone, a lot of us use tap. I use tap. Instead of a lot of people tapping their phones, they'll be tapping their wrists. And they're going to be able to tell you how many children you can have. They're going to be able to tell you how long you can listen to music. They're going to be able to tell you what kind of music you can listen to. Your constitutional rights will be stripped away, right? once this goes into full effect, they're going to try to take away the weapons. You won't be able to own a weapon as a digital ID citizen. You know, look at the UK, look at China. They can't own weapons, right? Those people are just ahead of us right now. They're ahead of the curve. Just like when, you know, the 2020 thing came, it started in China because everything always starts overseas and then it makes its way to America. So what they're going to try to do is they're going to try to make the Americans as docile as possible. And many Americans already are docile. Many Americans, when that time comes and they bring in this new digital ID, is going to be people lining up at these facilities to get this mark put in their wrist, bro. Excuse me. They're going to be lining up at these facilities to get this mark put in their wrist, bro. Because what they're going to promise you if you get that mark is an easier life. That's why things are being ramped up right now. That's why you see the prices continue to go up. That's, like I said, they're ramping everything up because they're preparing to break the people. They need to break us first, right? They need to take our will away. They need to take our spirit away so we can bow down to their new ways. Because they know if we're too spoiled, if we're too, you know, if we have too many resources and we have too much money, this is why they want to keep you poor, right? This is why they want to keep the rich rich and the poor poor. Right? Because when you have money and when you have resources, you don't have to bend to their ways the same way. There's a lot of people that you think are rich, but they're not really rich. It's a lot of these, you know, millionaires, quote unquote, living paycheck to paycheck, just like you and I, because, you know, they have an expensive lifestyle. There's a lot of rappers and celebrities living paycheck to paycheck, tour to tour, TV show to TV show, season to season, game to game, because, you know, they trying to take care of their whole family. They got a bunch of leeches around them, right? They going to the booty club, throwing $100,000 just to flex. And that whole, you know, dumbed down lifestyle where, you know, you spend more than you need to be spending is going to be catching up with a lot of people in this new society. You know, they're preparing you for the slaughter. This is why the people in charge of these record labels, the same people in charge of the record labels are in charge of the prisons. You know, they want to keep pushing out this trauma music, this drill music, you know, this low vibrational ass music, because they've taken the energy out of everything, right? You know, what's going on with things is, you know, authentic energy isn't being created in these fields, you know, in these elite fields where they allow niggas inside, right? Where they allow niggas to be pawns, right? To be used, to be sellouts, to sell out your people, right? To keep your people at a lower state. People may wonder why certain people get paid so much money and you think they're not that talented and they're not this and that. It's because these people know the secrets, bruh. A lot of these people that are dumbing us down and doing certain things to keep us at a low state, they know exactly what they're doing, bruh. That's why they're getting paid what they're being paid. And that's why you keep seeing them do asinine things. And you're like, man, like, you know, why are they doing this? This is why you see so many people, they go into the industry and they were authentic, they were creative, they were full of life, full of joy, full of creativity. And now they're dark and they're sad and they're soulless, and it's like they hate what they do. They hate their jobs just like the average American. Because these jobs, and if you're a rapper, you still got a job. Your job is to work for your label. Your job is to work for the people. Right? It strips your soul away. It strips your spirit away. A lot of people don't have a healthy work-life balance, so their spirit is being stripped away. Their will is being stripped away. Everything has been made about money. When you make everything about money, you get what you get in the NBA. You get dudes that ain't hungry no more. You get dudes that don't want to earn their check no more. You get dudes that are spoiled, right? When it's about, you know, it's supposed to be about the quality of person you are, not about the money. Right, money is just a tool, but it's all about the quality of person that you are, bro. You know what I'm saying? Because that money can be gone any day, right? That's why you have a lot of these people, they got money, but they're still empty. They're still soulless. They still haven't found, you know, a true purpose in life, because just filling your pockets and just filling your bank account with money isn't going to fulfill you. And it's a lot of people, they sold their soul for that very money. This is why you see these people, they can't sleep. They having nightmares. They always got to be around people. They always got to be gossiping. You got to understand, when you sell your soul, you become a vampire, right? It's why all these industries are being destroyed. The sports is being destroyed. The entertainment is being destroyed because it's run by vampires. People that just want to recreate and leech off of energy, right? Energy must be curated, right? So it can continue on. When all you do is leech off of energy, you drain the energy from everything. The energy from entertainment is being drained. The energy from sports is being drained. The energy from the rap game is being drained because the people running these things, the puppet masters, are telling everybody, this is what you need to talk about. This is what you need to mimic. And they control the algorithm where, you know, the things that they want you talking about is the only things that is going to be able to, you know, make the mainstream. So that demotivates people to talk about real things, to talk about what they really want to talk about, because they don't get no push, right? It's like what Ice Cube said in that one industry, right? These people can't make you talk about certain things, but they can manipulate things in a way to where you're forced, or you're not forced. See, because here's the thing, here's what y'all got to understand. Motherfuckers give the devil so much credit, bro. The devil has to give you a choice, bro. He can't force any of us to do anything. Just like when he brings that digital, what you call it, we're all going to have a choice. Just like during 2020, we all had a choice, right? Nobody was forced to do anything. They have to give you a choice. But what they do is they tempt you to make the choice that they want you to make. Right? They manipulate things in a way to where you don't have to make this decision. Just like in 2020, you didn't have to go get the jab. But a lot of people went and got the jab because they manipulated things. They put fear in you so you would go get it. They sent out these pawns, right? We don't know if these people was getting it or not, right? It was to the point to where they were recording. I think Stephen A. Smith or somebody went on live TV and recorded himself getting the jab. Like, they had to do little things like that to manipulate the people and be like, nigga, Stephen A. Smith got to get it. Your ass got to get it, right? But really, you have a choice. Stephen A. Smith had a choice just like you had a choice. But he chose money over, you know, any morals or any ethics. And a lot of people, they were hit with that crossroad, and to each his own. I know a lot of people who got the jab. I'm not throwing no shade, but all I'm saying is that was a test run. A lot of what goes on is a test run, and they gonna bring back them same tactics when they bring out the digital ID, because they saw how it worked so effectively in 2020. They know at first people are gonna be rebelling, people are gonna be saying, oh, they not gonna get it, they not gonna this, they not gonna that. But once you start saying you can't access that money, they know the money is what's gonna make people fold. See, people started folding when their jobs started saying, if you don't get the jab, we're not gonna keep you on the staff. Now, some people fought back against that. Some people got religious waivers and things of that nature, you know, and didn't have to get it. But the majority of people were manipulated and fear-mongered into getting it. And that showed the powers that be that most people don't really have a backbone. Most people aren't gonna stand for anything. Most people only care about money. That was their test run to see niggas ain't finna go without. Them threatening to cancel the snap and all that was a test run to see what a niggas gonna do when we take their resources away, right? How are they gonna react? Are they gonna unify? Are they gonna come up with a plan? And we saw how the majority of people reacted. The majority of people stooped down to their animalistic nature, their survival nature. You're taking our food away. You're taking our snap away. This is how I feed my family. This is how I feed my children. It's women, man, whatever, been living off of the system 20, 30, their whole life. It's generations of people living off of the system, bro. That's a problem. If your great grandma was getting food assistance and you still getting food assistance, that's a problem, because the whole purpose is to assist you into getting your life in a better position, right? If you going generations and y'all all still getting assistance, is it really assisting you, or you just dependent on it? But that's a different topic for a different day. But the point of this video is a lot of people aren't going to realize what's going on until it's too late. You know, those that can see what's going on, you know that we're on a train with no brakes, right? And instead of people trying to fix the brakes so we can slow down and get to a stop, right, and get off the train and stop at wherever we're trying to go, is people just putting more coal, more fuel into the train so the train can keep going and keep going faster. They're fueling this train with no brakes, instead of trying to fix the brakes so the train can stop. And certain people can see that if we don't stop this train, you know, eventually the tracks are going to end, right? Every track has a certain route. Eventually the tracks are going to end. Eventually we're going to get to a point where we need to slow down, but we can't. But a lot of people, they're not paying attention to the fact that the brakes are broken. Everything seems, for some people, the world is as perfect as it's ever been. Some people, they love the idea of AI. Some people, they love the idea of depopulation. And some people just don't know and don't care. They're just living their life frivolously, like, you know, and to each his own. That's like I said, we all have a choice. We have a choice to choose God. We have a choice to choose Satan. We all have a choice. Every day we wake up. You wake up in the morning, you have a choice to go to work, or you have a choice not to. You have a choice. You're not forced to do anything. But if you don't go to work, it's consequences for not going, right? If you do go to work, you know, it's consequences for going. You know, it's consequences for everything that we do, bruh. For everything that we do. But man, for those who celebrate, I hope y'all had a decent Thanksgiving, bro. Mine was solid, bro. Had some decent food, you know. Yeah, that's all I'm gonna say about that. You know, it's more I can talk about, but that's, you know, for off camera issues. You know what I'm saying? But the holidays was okay, you know. Christmas is right around the corner. A lot of people did some Black Friday shopping. I did some Black Friday shopping yesterday. Like I said, you know, allegedly it was some people talking about a Black Friday outage, or we're not shopping, we're not this. Y'all can go ahead and not shop, bro. But me, nigga, I'm not turning down no 50% off, 30% off, 20% off. Like, why would you not go catch a sale? Why would you not go buy something when you can get it for a cheaper price than you would be able to get it on a normal day? Like, you know, but if you one of these people protesting, we not shopping, we not this, we not that, you know, more power to you, you know. But all I know is a week from now, 2 weeks from now, y'all gonna be the same people in the store buying the same shit for a higher price. These protesters are so stupid. I don't understand why people protest for a couple of days, bro, or for a week. Like that's really gonna do something, bro. If niggas really want to boycott, if niggas really want to rebel, if niggas really want to start the revolution, let's all group together and let's all rebel. But y'all not finna do that, right? Y'all not finna do that. That's why I never participate in these little gimmicks and these little quote unquote boycotts, bro, because they go nowhere, right? They go nowhere. If you're not breaking their bottom line, it's not going anywhere. You know, and quote unquote not spending for a week or not spending for a couple of weeks or whatever, bro, you just got to stop spending, period, right? You're not going to break these people bottom line by not spending for a week or two. You know, there's plenty of people spending money. They'll make that money back, right? But if you just stop spending in general, if you just stop supporting, but people aren't going to do that, bro. People are not going to do that, bro. People are not going to stop fueling the beast, bro. They're going to keep doing these little gimmicks. But let me stay on point, bro. I want to end this video shortly. I don't even know what I'm going to title this, but the point that I was getting at, bro, is everything is being ramped up right now. The people in power are so infatuated with AI because they plan on replacing a lot of us, bro. Right? Tells you in the Bible 2/3 will be killed off. Some people believe it, some people don't. But this quote unquote AI war is going to be a part of these people getting destroyed off, bro. You know, and it's just going to be a matter of, do you have God on your side, bro? Like I said, we're entering a crossroad. You know, when you enter a crossroad, you know, it's like what's that movie, Monsters Inc. What door are you going to walk through, right? You got all these different doors. You got all these different crossroads. What door will you choose? Right? That door that you choose can cost you your life. Are you going to choose the digital ID door? Are you going to choose the one world government door? Are you going to choose the AI door? Right? Or are you going to choose whatever other door, the independent door, the putting your faith in God door? Because that's really all it's going to be. I don't have no master plan when they come with this shit, bro. You know, I ain't gonna lie, I'm a human being. I'm a little anxious. I'm a little nervous for what's to come because it sounds very scary what they're trying to do, bro. It does. I know you're not supposed to fear this, you're not supposed to fear that. I'm human, bro. The shit I'm hearing is making me nervous, bro. I ain't scared, but goddamn, I'm nervous, bro. The shit I'm hearing when I hear these elites talk about their plans for AI and their plans for the future and how they plan on wiping out the majority of jobs and how they're just trying to turn us into a bunch of docile, weak individuals, right? I want things to go back to the ways it's supposed to be, us being self-sufficient. But the people in power are trying to make us more dependent so we can be more weak, more docile, so we can bow to their ways. Like I tell you, I want to get back to the time where people are farmers, where people, you know, are resourceful, bro, and people can be self-sufficient. Like I said, the society should be geared towards making people self-sufficient again, making things affordable again, right? But they don't want to do that, bro. They don't want to do that because then they won't be able to control people anymore, right? Then people won't be controlled by their dollar as much, right? What I want to see is the families get back together, the families unified. What I want to see is mothers and fathers staying together and raising a family. What I want to see is it takes a village. What I want to see is a group of people supporting and raising families, raising strong people to be cultured, to be God-fearing. That's what I want to see. But this society is being pushed more and more away from that by the day, and they're amping it up. They're amping things up, bro. That's why when you go on social media, you don't know what's real and what's fake. That's why when you go on social media, you see a bunch of copycat people just, you know, regurgitating the same bullshit. Nobody created nothing new. Because like I said, these people in charge are vampires. They can't create nothing new. All they can do is leech off of the energy. And then once they're done leeching off of your energy, that's why you see a lot of these rappers, they sign a crappy deal. As Kanye West would say, he sold his soul. It was a crappy deal. At least it came with a couple toys like a Happy Meal, you know. When you do that, bro, your soul is where your creativity comes from, bro. That's why you see a lot of these artists, they came into the game and their shit was exclusive. Their shit was different. They had a different sound. They had a different vibe. And then eventually all of that just died off. They weren't able to keep it going. They weren't able to come out with nothing new. Because when you sell your soul, you sell your creativity, bro. Right? When you give these people power and when these people give you money, like I said, a lot of y'all wonder why these rappers and all these people are getting paid so much money. Because they're programmers, bro. They're not just rappers, they're programmers. It's bigger than what you think, bro. It's bigger than what you think, bro. These people are programmers, right? And they're paid to program you and keep you at a lower state. They're paid to keep the secrets. That's the more money they're paid, the more secrets they know. The higher they are on the totem pole, the more secrets they know. That's why they pay those people more money. That's why that's why you got, you know, goddamn, you know, you ever wonder how some people, they make like 100 and some thousand a year, but they living in some big house? It's because they're getting paid off because they know a lot of things. They're doing a lot of things behind the curtains. It's a lot of Agent Smiths roaming around and you don't even know it, bro. Right? It's a lot of people working for them people, helping them people, all for money, bro. Because that's all people care about is money. People have sold their souls and their morals for money, bro. And that's why this society has become so empty, so soulless, so draining, bro. And it's exhausting being a person that can see what's going on because you're surrounded by these draining people, bro. You're surrounded by these damn vampires. If you're somebody with the light, all the vampires just gravitate towards you like flies going to a light. You know how when it gets dark outside and there's one light on, all the flies will go to the light? That's how these vampires are when chosen ones come around, bro. When people with their soul, when people with their essence come around, you're going to get people that want to be your friend, that want to be nice to you. You're going to get monitoring spirits that just watch you and just keep tabs on you. It's exhausting. And you being spiritually enlightened, you can tell that people are watching you. It's going to be people trying to sabotage you because they get a kick out of your trauma. You know, it's a lot of sadistic people out here that want to see people fall. That's why you got certain people on my channel talking about, oh, I want to see you fall off. I want to see your downfall. But I'm going to continue to tell y'all people, I got God with me, so it'll never be a downfall. I can lose it all. I can lose it all, and there won't be no downfall because as long as I got God, I'm spiritually rich. All this shit comes and goes, bro. Don't get me wrong, we need money to survive. But all this shit comes and goes, bro. As long as you got God with you, you can lose everything and he'll still make a way for you, bro. He'll still make a way for you, bro. So that's where my faith is. But like I said, it's a lot of sadistic people that want to see me fall because of what I stand for, because I'm a so-called black man that carries himself a certain way, a so-called black man that tries to promote, you know, black people being confident and black people, you know, breaking against the racism that we're faced against. It's a lot of racism. It's a lot of people that hate us, a lot of white people that hate us, a lot of Mexicans that hate us, a lot of Asians that hate us, a lot of people just hate us. Even our people in Africa don't like us, bro. I'm talking about the Americanized Negroes. We're hated all over the world, and I want us to change that, bro, because the people in control, the puppet masters, they're manipulating, and, you know, people are selling out, and they're giving people these scripts and these agendas to go by, and the agenda in the script is to rap about trauma, to rap about the struggle. Why are all black people have to rap about the struggle and trauma, bro? Right? When are we gonna start rapping about, you know, different things? You know, when are we gonna start rapping about different problems? Because more money, more problems, right? More money, more problems. Problems pays, you know, drama pays. They can still talk about drama and get views and shit like that by talking about what goes on in their actual life. A lot of people, when they get money, the main problem that they start having is problems with family. And nothing is going to bring more viewers than some family drama. But they don't want to talk about family drama and real things going on. See, that's what'll really get the people galvanized to watch something. That's why things like the Netflix series, the Starting Five, that little NBA series, had to get canceled, because it's not real. Nobody want to see that shit. Nobody want to see that cookie cutter, everything is perfect bullshit. We know your life ain't perfect. Niggas see through the bullshit. We know y'all life ain't perfect. I'm talking about y'all celebrities, y'all people on the top. We know y'all life ain't perfect. So when y'all try to put out this reality TV bullshit, making everything seem perfect, people aren't gonna identify with that, bro. People would rather watch Love and Hip, and even shit like Love and Hip Hop. People aren't gravitating towards it as much because, you know, that's also fake. You know, it's like all this shit fake, bro. Like I tell y'all, bro, fake. But this video is longer than I wanted. You know, it's just been a little minute since I made a video. You know, I just been spending time with family and stuff like that. You know, sometimes I got to take a break from this whole social media thing is getting weird, and unfortunately, it's just going to keep getting weirder and weirder, bro. You know, so like I said, we're on a train going 1,000 miles an hour with no brakes, bro. With no brakes. And instead of taking their foot off the gas and letting the train naturally slow down so it can stop and so we can fix the brakes, they just flooring that bitch. And they adding more coal, more fuel. They not trying to stop the train. They not trying to slow it down. The elite niggas, it's like the Titanic when the Titanic is sinking. Some people went down with the ship. Some people hopped on escape boats and got up out of there. It's some people trying to tell niggas, hey, we got to hop on the escape boat. We got to get up out of here. It's some niggas telling the niggas on the train, hey, driver, take your foot off the gas, bro. We ain't got no brakes, bro. Let this thing stop so we can fix the brakes. Let's fix the problem before we keep going. No, these people just want to keep going, and they just want to ignore the facts that the brakes are broke, right? These people just want to stay on the Titanic and ignore the fact that it's sinking, right? Because it's too cold, right? They don't see any hope. They don't see any hope in escaping. Escape where? We're in the middle of the sea. We're in the middle of nowhere. We're not going to make it out of here anyway. Why try to escape? People have lost hope. People have lost their faith, their will. But, yeah, bro, I just had to get my shit off, man. You know, y'all know how it is. Like I said, it's been a little bit, bro. Just don't let this shit overly consume you, bro. That's the main thing I try to focus on, bro, because it can really be depressing knowing, you know, the direction the world is heading into. And, you know, a lot of people, they're not going to realize that train don't got no brakes until that train run into a wall, or until that train run off of a cliff, right? Until that train runs into another train, you know? They're not gonna realize the Titanic is sinking until that motherfucker is underwater and you're drowning and you're freezing and you got frostbite and all this bullshit. So it's gonna be people like me and many other people trying to bring awareness to the problem. People are not gonna listen to us, bro. And that's the disheartening part. And it's gonna become more obvious. And the thing that makes it so frustrating is that things are becoming more and more obvious to realize, bro. It's as plain as day, bro. It's as plain as day. Like, it's to the point now, I can see the niggas who are bought and paid for. I can see the niggas who are reading off of a script. I can see the niggas who aren't authentic, and it's the majority of these niggas in the spotlight, right? I can see them purposely trying to promote a negative and a self-hatred image for the so-called black people, so the rest of the world will hate black people, so black people will hate themselves, right? I can see them putting quote-unquote black culture on TV that's not really black culture. I'm actually around black people, and I see that the majority of black people don't act like the black people that they promote. The majority of black people don't act like the black people that they put in the movies. Not all black people are broke. Not all black people are struggling. It's some black millionaires. It's some black billionaires. Why don't we talk about, like I said, why don't we talk about the money problems that people are dealing with? The problems that most people deal with when they start getting some money, family drama, things of that nature. These are spiritual battles. The family, the generational curses where families can't be together, where it's always something, it's always some drama. Why can't we talk about these problems? We need to be trying to fix these problems. But instead, people just want to talk about the trauma and the pain and how they can't trust nobody, how they can't this. How are we going to heal from this shit? What caused this problem? How did you get to a point to where you can't trust nobody? How did you get to a point to where you're in a family where people keep turning their back on you? We got to go back to through your mom's files, through your grandma's files. How are these people living? Let's get to the root of these problems, right? Let's start making music about healing again. Let's start making the music about love again, right? That's what I'm saying. But as the days go on, I see we not going to get back to that until a transition happens, right? Until a transition of power happens. Right now, we have soulless beings running this world, bro. And not only are those soulless beings running those worlds, these soulless beings have created other soulless people. We got soulless people creating children, right? There's more idiots, there's more soulless people, there's more demonic people having children than righteous people. Most righteous people right now don't really want to have kids because they see the type of world we're in. Most righteous people don't want to have kids, or most smart people don't want to have kids until they get their money together, until they're stable. The people who are least stable, the people who have the least money, the people who have the least resources, the people who have the least knowledge are having the most kids. We're surrounded by idiots. I just bought a t-shirt that it had Mufasa on it, and it says I'm surrounded by idiots. I got it from Walmart. A nice shirt though, $6. No shame in my game. But we are surrounded by idiots because the idiots are having the majority of the children. So when you have a society that is majority idiots, you're going to have certain people that see what's going on. They're trying to explain to the idiots what's going on. And idiots do what idiots do. Dumb shit. They don't listen. So it's just exhausting, bro. It really kills your spirit, bro. You know, as a creator, it makes you not want to create when you know that people aren't going to get the message. When you know that it's going to go over a lot of people's heads. When you know a lot of people, even if they hear your message and it resonates with you and it motivates you, the game's so deep, they're going to be distracted, you know, right after they get done listening to your video. It's not going to sink into their spirit. It's not going to marinate with them. It's not going to change their ways. It's just going to give them a little temporary spark. Like a lot of people, when New Year's hit, they get a temporary spark to go hit the gym. Then what happens? They go to the gym for a couple of days, their body gets sore, they get tired, and they fold because they weren't really built for it. They was just motivated, right? Are you motivated or are you disciplined? It's a difference. When you're disciplined, you do it when you're tired. You do it when you're angry. You do it when you're sad. You just do it. When you're motivated, you do it when you're motivated. You do it when you're feeling good. Yeah, I'm ready to conquer the world. But what about when you wake up and you're tired and you just mentally not in a great space? Are you going to do it then? See, that's discipline, right? Discipline is when you do it regardless. You do what's right regardless. Motivation is when you do something when you're motivated, when a spark was put into you, right? Sometimes you ain't got no spark and you still got to find a way, right? But I've said enough for today, man. I'm finna go in this crib, get some more leftovers, you know, and chill out, bro, you know. I just wanted to get a video out. Like I said, bro, we in the midst of a snowstorm. It's supposed to be snowing the rest of the week, so I'll do the best I can to make time for some videos. But like I said, sometimes I just be needing a break from all this shit anyway, bro. So it's all good. And this break was refreshing, just getting around family, you know. Even though some shit kind of killed my vibe, and it's still kind of killing my vibe, you know. It is what it is, bro. But I was still able to be around family, bro, you know. But I appreciate all y'all, bro. The channel's been growing a lot. You know, I've been paying attention. I appreciate everybody, bro, you know. And like I said, bro, as y'all can see, it's a lot of people that want to see me fail, bro. Not a lot, but, you know, it's some people out there, you know. It's some people that, you know, for whatever reason, maybe they knew me in my past. Maybe they knew me from 2, 3, 4 years ago. They don't know who I am now and who I am today. And even the person who I was then wasn't a terrible person, but I had my flaws. I made my mistakes. It's some people, they holding grudges. They don't want to let go. And they're just hell bent on seeing me in a bad space. They're sadistic. They're sadists, right? They're claiming that I'm such a bad person, but here they are, you know, doing witchcraft and doing little shit, preying on my downfall. You're no better than me. You're actually worse than me, because I'm not preying on nobody's downfall. I'll let the Most High deal with my enemies for the most part, unless I have to deal with them. I only deal with my enemies when I absolutely have to, when you give me no choice. If it's my life or your life, I'd rather it be yours. But on that note, this whole system is crumbling. Get your minds together. That's the most important thing, bro. Get right with God. Get close to your family. That's all you're going to have. That's all that's going to matter when Armageddon comes, bro. But I'm out, man.